Hi, my name is David, and today I'm going to be addressing some of the major arguments presented within the doctrine of the Westboro Baptist Church. I'm sorry if I use that term too often, because I'm not simply addressing the doctrine of the Westboro Baptist Church, but any churches, any denomination that chooses to use those unbiblical principles. Before I begin, I would like to make some clarifying statements. Number 1, I am a Christian. Number 2, I do believe homosexuality is an abomination towards God. And 3, we do live in a wicked and perverse culture. But the means in which the Westboro Baptist Church is employing to attack that culture and attack homosexuality is not effective. In addition to that, it is disrespectful towards God and disrespectful towards men. In this video, I'm going to be making 3 major points. Number 1, God does not delight in the death of the wicked. Number 2, we are commanded by God to love everyone. And 3, God will protect his children, no matter who they are. So now, on to the first point. Ezekiel 33:11. Say to them, "As surely as I live, declares the sovereign Lord, I take no pleasure in the death of the wicked, but rather that they turn from their evil ways and live. Turn from your evil ways. Why will you die, O house of Israel?" End quote. I would like to highlight a portion of that scripture. Declares the sovereign Lord, I take no pleasure in the death of the wicked. When a member of the Westboro Baptist Church employs scripture, they need to back it up with the full context of the story. They cannot take anything out of context, whether that be a fundamental aspect of Christianity or a specific verse. May I remind you, in Revelation, it does warn those who choose to tweak Scripture. God paints them as evildoers because they're destroying what he has set forth as the law of the land or the law of the universe. So, now, moving on to the second point, that we are commanded to love everyone. The average response you're going to get to the question, now, do you love homosexuals? No, I hate them, and God hates them too. Let them burn in hell. Now, as I said before, I agree with them to an extent. Homosexuality is an abomination towards God, but listen to them. They're basically saying, hey, we hate bags. Now, it's important that we as Christians hate homosexuality, but that does not mean that we have the right or the privilege to hate the homosexual. 1 John 4:8. Whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. End quote. Now, we are chosen through the Great Commission to go out and preach the word to the populace, but not through judgment, not through hate, but through love. We are commanded to love because God loved us first. From the verse I just read, who does not love does not know God. I'm sorry, but in order to attack homosexuality, you have to love them. And it's a huge turnoff too. If you're lost, and if you're wandering for the truth, and if you're trying to figure out for yourself what's out there, is there a God? The big questions. Someone that actually treats you like a human being, because they are, is way more likely to become your friend, no matter who you are. So, in summary, we are commanded to love others no matter who they are. Yet we're not supposed to love their sin, and I'll end with that in conclusion. Now, the next point, the third point, is that God will protect his children no matter who they are. You see the signs? Thank God for IEDs, or improvised explosive device. Basically, the roadside bombs that kill our soldiers overseas. Okay, so now this is one of my favorite verses of the Bible. Isaiah 41:10. Do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. One of my friends, Evan, who lives in Rhode Island, his brother recently left for Iraq and a tour in Iraq and Afghanistan. He is a devout devout Christian, and he's very strong in his faith. If he dies, it will be God's will. Yet, because he dies, it's because God allows it. Not because he strikes them down with fire and brimstone from heaven. Are you completely ridiculous? It is now it's the promise of God that he will protect his children. Now, a promise of Christianity is not a perfect life or a completely safe life. We can see from people that have perished in the past due to faith, there's no guarantee of safety. Yet there's a guarantee of something that can never, ever be measured. So we can see that, especially Christian soldiers. There's a lot of Christians in the Christian servicemen and women, people in our military, and if they die, they're serving our country, number one, and number two, they're loved by God and they're protected by God, no matter what, and that is a fundamental promise of Christianity. So now, in closing, it is easy to look at people and say, God hates you because God hates your sin. Now, God does hate sin. God cannot live with sin. That is why he sent his son to die on the cross, so that he would no longer have to look at our sin, so that we could be with him because he is perfect. It is easy, as I said before, it's easy to say, God hates you. Yet, okay, here's a sinner, and here's the sin. They are together, but in one aspect we need to look at them separately. Now, the sinner is responsible for his sin, because he's making a conscious decision to turn away from God. Yet, we have to love the sinner, but not ignore the sin. We are chosen to hate the sin, but love the sinner. That is how you communicate biblical truth. That is how you seek and save the lost. That is how you live out the Great Commission. So now in this video, I've shown you, with biblical principles, that we need to love. God does not dwell in the destruction of the wicked, and that God will protect his children, no matter who you are, and that includes our servicemen and women.